Welcome to the Disability Resource Centre podcast, your go-to charity for advice, support and services. We are based in the heart of England and offer support all over the West Midlands. Whether it's information, advice, advocacy, life skills or health and wellbeing, we've got you covered. We also offer services around employment, training, volunteering, community development, counselling and energy and debt advice. Oh, and let's not forget our great carers. We offer support for you guys too. We hope this channel will be informative, helpful and inspiring by publishing a wide range of topics such as travel, legislation updates, services, debates and much more. So stay tuned to see what's coming up in this episode and please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.
Hello everyone and welcome to the DRC Podcast. Today we have a special showcase episode. We'll be shining the spotlight on one of our local projects within NNS. And today we have Lynn K from Beat It Production. How are you, Lynn? You all right?
Hello, Tom. Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me here today.
No, thank you. Thank you for being with us. We basically just wanted to know a bit more about your project. We've obviously heard some fantastic things. We know how delivery has had to change over the past few months with lockdown, but we can get into that all. Just first of all, could you explain to us exactly what sound relaxation is?
I'll do my best. It's actually a broad term for all sorts of things. That there's lots of versions of sound relaxation. The way that I deliver it, I have a collection of sensory instruments that come from all different parts of the world. That includes gongs and singing bowls and bells and chimes and all sorts of things. And those instruments are played in a sequence which is designed to help people to really relax, and they enter a deeply meditative state. So they're almost between sleep and waking. And people find it very restful. And what it does is it lifts them out of their sort of everyday worries and the trauma that we're all living with at the moment. And it just gives you some real quality me time.
Yeah, that sounds very relaxing. Sort of to be in that sort of state in between, sort of being asleep and awake.
Sometimes people fall asleep and that's okay. It's because they need to.
You don't take it personally if they fall asleep.
Not at all.
You're actually doing your job really well. So
I think what happens is that the brain is continuing to do its restoration while you're asleep, because on some level the sounds are still going through your brain. It's a very complex organ, isn't it, the brain?
Well, my nan always used to say the best medicine is sleep. And I think that's really true, is that when your brain sort of enters that phase, it sort of gives it that kind of opportunity to sort of rebalance itself maybe.
Yeah. Well, it's called an alpha brainwave state, and that's when the relaxation and the recuperation happens. I'm not very good on the science, but I've got lots of research that I can reference if anybody wants to know a bit more about all that.
No, definitely. Yeah, we'll provide some links for stuff like that. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So it's obviously really like intricate and interesting things. So where did the idea for the project originally come from?
Because I work with rhythm and sound all the time. It's just one of those things that I sort of stumbled across really, and I've always wondered what gongs are and how you actually use them, apart from the one on the movies where the strongman's hitting it. Is it Arthur Rank, one of those old films?
Yeah.
That's actually a fake, because if he hit that loud with all his strength, it would actually deafen him. So it's not an actual thing. It was a fake put together effect.
When I think about it, it did look quite thin. Like you did hit it and it sort of flaps around a lot more than it probably should have.
They do flap around. You'd be amazed. If you look at one from the side, when you're beating it, what's the word? Reverberates. You can actually see. Yeah. This is my gong that I've got out today. I don't know if you can see that. It's about just over a yard in diameter, so it's quite a substantial instrument.
And you can sort of double as like an alarm clock service for the streets as well, couldn't you? Just in case, like a community service.
It makes me very popular, Tom.
So would you be able to tell us a little bit about the background of Beat It Percussion?
Yes, certainly. What I was working at was an ESOL tutor down in rural Herefordshire where I was living, and I'd been doing it for quite a long time and was getting a tiny bit stale. And then I got involved in community music making, and that was with a samba band that was actually based in Malvern. There's always a roundabout story with these things, isn't there? But I was getting a lot out of that at a time that wasn't particularly easy for me, and it made me think, actually, drums and sound and rhythm is a very healing thing that goes back to ancient times, and I wanted to explore perhaps that maybe I could find a way of using that to work with people rather than teaching English the same every week, you know. So that was how the interest started. And I started doing a few local workshops, which looking back were really quite bad, but we've all got to start somewhere. And then I got made redundant in 2013, so I started working full-time in this project, and we became a CIC in 2013.
Fantastic. When I think of Malvern, I never think of like there being much of a samba scene there.
I don't know how strong they are at the moment with all that's happening, but there's a really good little samba band there.
Lynn, tell me what Beat It looked like before lockdown.
Oh, yes. Well, we were really busy out there in the community. We're just starting to get established in the West Midlands because I moved up about 18 months ago. I had enough of the rural lifestyle and I wanted to come home. So quite excited about doing local work with the NNS and other organisations in Birmingham. And we were doing workshops in community settings for the most part. So some of that was community centres, church centres, occasionally residential homes, or working with other organisations, mainly supporting people with memory loss and older people. And it's what we do is it's a little bit hard to describe. So I usually say to people, come to a session and experience it, come as a guest. And it's very interactive. We don't have some people sitting out and watching. We try and get everybody at least in the circle, even if they don't want to do everything. I don't entertain. I'm not a musician who comes and plays wonderful music and get claps at the end. And it's not a sort of serious lesson either. We're not teaching complex African rhythms or anything like that, although I know some good people that will do that. What I do, it's using rhythm and to some extent sound to get people to communicate with each other and to get them mentally stimulated. So it's all about social skills and sequencing skills. So you're passing an object round the room to a beat, and it's quite funny because somebody will always drop it, or it's very light-hearted. And it appears informal, but I've always got a plan and the sort of outcomes in mind. And
how did lockdown affect your delivery of the service, and where's it taking the company now?
Yeah, good question. Well, we delivered our last face-to-face session in the middle of March, so that's almost a year ago. It's a quite terrifying thought. And as you obviously know, Michael, because we've talked before, I'm not a great technical, I'm not a fan of technology to quite a large extent. So I had to make myself come to terms with things like Zoom, come to terms with things like getting a microphone and recording myself. We found quite quickly that the interactive sessions are quite difficult because of the limitations of Zoom. And it's one thing working with a room full of people. It's another thing working with an array of little tiny faces on little screens. So we did a sort of turnabout and stopped doing the interactive work, but focus more on the relaxation sessions. So that meant devising a whole new program, if you like, because some of the sounds didn't work online and some of them worked really well. So there was a great deal of trial and error, and then trying to put that together into a relaxation session for people. It's been a challenge, to say the least. But
and your project called Relax and Chat.
Yeah.
What's the unique points of Relax and Chat? What's different about this?
The difference with that is you get a live sound bath experience in the middle of the session, and the sound bath being the sound relaxation, which is me playing the gong and the singing bowls and the other instruments. So we call it Relax and Chat because I think what people needed with lockdown and still need today and will do for some time is a place where they can meet online, have an informal chat, get to know people. In addition to that, we're offering the relaxation activity. So they're getting the opportunity for social inclusion, but also something for their own well-being.
Lynn, can you tell me if there's any charge for the service?
No, it's free to attend, thanks to the NNS.
Brilliant. And do you do private groups separately?
Yeah, actually, if a group wants to arrange for me to come and do a project with them, let them get in touch, and we can talk about the best ways to pay for that.
And looking forward, where do you see Beat It progressing?
I think we're going to be delivering online for some time to come. We'd love to get out there. We'd love to take our sound baths into the community so people can enjoy the full resonance experience. I'm guessing that we're going to have a sort of crossover period of doing a bit of both, but there will be online facilities for quite some time to come. We're also working on a brand new project, which is an online interactive project for carers and people living with memory loss. So I'll be telling you more about that another time.
Okay. And for people that can't access Zoom, is there any alternatives to getting to the service?
Yeah, we actually have some CDs which we can send out to people. And I think you've still got some at DRC, sorry.
Yeah, we've got some.
But the same recording is on a SoundCloud recording, so if people can go online, we can send them the link to that, and then they can enjoy the sound relaxation sound experience at any time they feel like it.
I've just got one question to ask Lynn. Can you tell us how people can get in touch with you if they're interested in joining in any of the sessions?
Yeah, we're always happy for people to get in touch with us. The phone number is 07875 090 946. You can email us. I'm sure Michael will field any inquiries that come through DRC. We get some inquiries through the link workers and through the phone helpline from Manjeet. So the organisations in Yardley are aware of us and they can help refer if people have got inquiries. You can also book on Eventbrite. That's perhaps a little daunting. It's quite a lot of buttons to click, but you can book a place on Eventbrite. And our regular session for people in Yardley is midday on a Thursday. We have other sessions as well. If you want to join us and you can't make that one, give me a call, send me an email, and I'll tell you what else is available.
Excellent. Tom, back to you, mate, to close us up.
Well, thank you very much for that, Lynn. We'll provide all the information for people to get in touch. If they'd like to take part. All sounds fantastic. And we'll have to say goodbye now. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tom.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.